Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus, available to use online, at ATMs or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.
Welcome along. It's the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington and I'm delighted to be joined by two foremost Racing Post experts in Paul Keeley and David Jennings. We've also got from Paddy Power Frank the Tank Hickey, who has got all the odds on the weekend action and hopefully some winners of his own. We're going to get stuck into Newbury, where the Lockinge is the pride of place. There's also some good stuff at Newmarket, live on ITV. And then on Sunday, we've got the reappearance of Caravaggio at Naas. Keels has definitely sussed one from some of the other stuff in the UK. And we will crack on then with the 3:30 at Newbury on Saturday, the Al-Jabar Lockinge Stakes. 9 have been declared. Paul Keeley, will more than 7 stand their ground? Will we get proper each way betting?
Yeah, no, I think they'll stand their ground for a Group 1. A lot of them have some form at least on soft ground. It all depends on how soft it is. I mean, obviously we're talking now before we know exactly what the ground is going to be. But the going stick this morning suggested that it's the softest ground on the flat it's been for nearly 2 years. There was a 4.9 reading, and they're calling it soft, good as soft in places, but they raced on over 5 and called it heavy before on the flat. So it'd be very interesting to see just how deep it is. OK, so keep an eye out on the Friday action and obviously the overnight rain. So, Frank, how did Paddy Power bet on the Lockinge?
Yeah, Ribchesters are 2-1.5. Galileo Gold is 130. Lightning Spear 7-2. Somehow 9-2. Acclaim 10-1. Dutch Connection 14-1. And we're 33-1 bar.
Now, last week, poor old David kept following in Keels and just having to agree with him. But they teamed up to devastating effect, got the big winner of the Victoria Cup, so it was a case of great minds thinking alike. But, DJ, we'll let you go first on the Lockinge. Who'd you fancy?
I actually haven't even seen Paul's Weekender column this week, so I have no idea what he fancies. But I think Galileo Gold is a good thing here, Bruce, for a couple of different reasons. I think he's 2-1 up on Ribchester. I think they've met 3 times and he's finished ahead of him twice. I think now is the time to catch him. He's perfectly adaptable ground-wise. He won the St James's Palace Stake last year on soft ground when he beat the Gurkha. And I wouldn't read too much into the way his form tailed off last year, because listen to Hugo Palmer. He had a really bad skin condition that affected him. And
Hugo Palmer did? So he's got nice skin, Hugo. He looks immaculate.
Oh, I see what you did there. I didn't. Yeah. That's.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Galileo Gold got a really bad skin condition, and I think that did affect him on his last 2 runs. And he was quite keen and edgy. He wasn't overly relaxed, but I think they've done a good bit of work earlier on this season with trying to get him relaxed. And I can't get over Hugo Palmer's interview a couple of weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and he was asked about Galileo Gold, and he goes, "I just wish the Lockinge was tomorrow." He says he's never been in better form, and it's just a case of keeping him right for the Lockinge till then. And yeah, I think he's a better horse than Ribchester. I think he has his conditions. I think he's proven that he goes well fresh. And I think the fact that he's 130 and Ribchester's 2-1, I think that's too much between them. And I wouldn't be surprised if Galileo Gold ended up going off favourite.
Keels, I don't think you're tipping Galileo Gold. I think you're going to go further down the list.
I am going to go down further list. I will be surprised if Galileo Gold goes off favourite. There's a slight worry over the form of the Hugo Palmer stable. He's 1 from 23 in May, which gives him his lowest strike rate by some way for about 18 months. So, yeah, not all of them have run badly. Some have. But I just wonder whether everything's okay with the yard.
I thought that Vintage Folly ran well, though.
Yeah. I mean, look, when you get stables out of form, you still get a few that run well, and there might be nothing in it. We're only talking a small sample, but it'd be something that would worry me slightly. I think Ribchester is the right favourite, to be honest. I think he was the one that kept on improving last year, but I don't think any of them set an absolutely outstanding target for horses to aim at, and I quite like the look of the top one, Acclaim. He just improved at the end of last season. I think he went up £17. He started off by winning a handicap over a stiff mile at Ascot, and then won 2 7-furlong races. He loves soft ground. He's obviously going to be played late by Spencer, but Toscanini's going to make sure that it's a fair test. And I think he might, if he improves as quickly as he did at the end of last season, if he's carried that on, he might not be far off him.
Righty-ho. Frank, what do you think?
I agree with Paul. I made my debut on the Monday jury in Monday's Racing Post, and I was keen enough on this as an each-way play. he was decent enough over 6 furlongs, but he really took off when they stepped him up to a mile and 7 furlongs last year. And as Paul said, soft ground so probably travels really strongly through his race. And even if you go back to the Newmarket run last time, like he's beaten some decent horses in Lumiere, Gelata, Certificate, Cougar Mountain. You know, and even Taz Leet, who won at York during the week, Gift and Master. Like, that's strong form. He needs to probably step up 5 pounds or 6 pounds. But if he does that, I think he'll be bang there each way. I wouldn't like Galileo Gold at all. I think Ribchester will come out on top between the two of them. But it would be Acclaim for me. Now, if it was really proper testing ground, Mitchum Swagger would have a squeak at a massive price each way. But I'll be backing Acclaim.
OK, and can I just say about your efforts on the Monday jury there, Frank? You came up with one of the best answers there's ever been. The question was, what do you think of the Epsom Hill being renamed Poundland? And your answer was, if all you've got to worry about is the naming of a hill in Epsom, then you've got a grand, easy life. Well said, mate. I thought that was absolutely superb. Right, that's Lockinge done and dusted. The 255 is the Al-Jabar London Gold Cup. And as Paul Keeley is always very quick to point out, this is something of a race of future champions, isn't it, Kills? We've had Al-Kazim and various others, haven't we? Last year, didn't we tip the winner, but he didn't go on to become a superstar?
Imperial Aviator didn't go on. It's almost a rarity that they don't go on. Obviously, Time Test won it. We had a few years ago. We had a horse, Green Moon, won it, and Monte Rosso was second. And Green Moon went on to win a Melbourne Cup. Monte Rosso won a Dubai World Cup. So you can get some really, really decent horses in this, and there's a few in there that have got decent entries, including Century Dream, who was third at Sandown in a good race that I think Jack Hobbs won a few years ago, and he's got some group entries at Ascot. The fifth in that race ran second in the Lingfield Derby Trial, so it looks like solid handicap form. But Mark Johnson used to mop this race up years ago with horses that were always well handicapped, and he had 3 or 4 amongst the entries, and the one that had the lowest handicap mark was this Time to Study, who runs, the only one that runs, and he was the only one he'd given Royal Ascot entries to. He's in the King Edward VII, and he's in the Queen's Vase now. He won first time out last year on good to soft ground, and then ran two more starts on the all weather. Really, really looked a decent performer on his second one. First time at 1 mile 2 furlongs. He's gonna want further, but given how testing the ground is likely to be, I think he'd go very, very well. He's by motivator, so he should handle the ground. Righty-ho. What's the latest betting on the London Gold Cup, and particularly Time to Study, Frank?
Time to Study is 6-1, but our favourite at the moment anyway is Century Dream at 4-1, Defoe's 11-2, Time to Study and Mutual Applause are 6-1, Glorious Forever 8-1, Count Calabash 9-1, and we're 12-1 bar.
Who do you think will win, Frank?
I could definitely see the angle with Time to Study, but I thought Mutual Applause is overpriced even at R6s. There's a bit bigger out there. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off a fair bit shorter tomorrow. If you go to his Sandown run last time, he was nabbed late by Atty Pierce, who is touted for better things later on in the season.
Per se. Atty
Per se.
No, it's not. It's not per se.
It is, yeah.
It's not. Atty Pierce. It's Atty Pierce. He used to be a trainer, didn't he? He was a legendary trainer, wasn't he? Remember that, Kills?
No.
Oh, no, you're not as old as you look, are you?
Oh, yeah, take it back.
Did you know, by the way, lads, who do you reckon's older, Paul Keeley or Jennifer Aniston? Come on, what do you reckon, Dave?
I'd say Jennifer Aniston is about 47. I'd say
they're the same age. They're both the same age. Isn't that amazing?
The same age.
Really?
If Paul Keeley and Jennifer Aniston walked into a pub, they could hustle people, couldn't they, in some sort of age bet. Anyway, I can't even remember who was speaking and what they were saying.
Yeah, I was talking about Mutual Applause, but got distracted. I was just saying, like the Sandown race, that Esher Cup generally is a very strong handicap. It looked so again, even though they finished in a bit of a heap.
That's Esher, by the way.
Esher, Jesus. It's like being 11 when I was sent to elocution lessons. Like, I'll just say that race that he ran at Sandown. He's won on soft ground in Salisbury before. Did I say Salisbury correct?
Yeah, no, that was good.
That's okay.
Was good.
So I can see him going well. I think there might be 7-1 out there at that won't last, I wouldn't think, and he'll be, for me, each way play.
Much applause. Okay, DJ, what's your view? I think you better go last. Having when you went first last time, your tip got absolutely ridiculed by the others. So,
absolutely. I'm just glad Musselburgh isn't part of my form scan here.
You've cracked it.
The one I'm going to chance is Bush House. Again, I'm hoping that Keels is wrong and Hugo Palmer's stable is not completely out of form. I just thought that handicap at Doncaster was one of the strongest kind of 1 mile 2 handicaps so far this season. Khalidi was third, and First Nation, who was second to Bin Batula, obviously won next time out. And Bush House is a little bit quirky, wears blinkers, and is certainly not the most straightforward. But I thought it was 20-1 that day, and it was in front of Furlong Out, and just a little bit one place close home. But I thought it was a natural improver throughout the season. I thought it looked like a 3-year-old that would continue to progress throughout the season. I don't think this is as good a race as the last couple of years. One I was given a chance was Glorious Forever, who looks a bit slow, looks to be crying out for 1.5 miles. I think that could go well. But at 14-1, I chance Bush House. I think he will continue to progress.
Okay, the card opens at 150 with the Al-Rayyan Stakes, formerly known as the Aston Park Stakes. 6 runners go to post. Paddy Power bet as follows. Frank Hickey.
15-8 Across the Stars, 130 midterm, 7-2 Chemical Charge, 5-1 My Dream Boat, 6-1 Hawkbill, and 20-1 To Be Wild.
Frank, you go first.
I think this market is probably a little bit all over the place at the moment, and I would be very sweet on midterm and the first time visor. The fact that Ryan Moore chooses ahead of Across the Stars must be significant. This will go off fab tomorrow, I think, and I think he'll take a bit of beating. Even though it was disappointing the last time, I think it was still only beaten 2 1/4 lengths. I think it'll be tough to beat.
DJ.
Is he choosing it though? Because Frankie rode Across the Stars on his last 2 starts last season. So I just wonder.
Yeah, I would have thought, why wouldn't he have the choice?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's something to do with the... No, that's not... Sure,
and
you wrote Poet's Word.
Midterms only had 2 runs with soft in the description as well, and he's won both of them, so I think the soft ground will be no issue.
Come on in, David. Who do you fancy?
Yeah, the one I liked was Chemical Charge in a visor for the first time. I thought Oisin Murphy got to the front too soon the last day when just nabbed again by Muntaha. I thought if he could ride the race again, he would, and he would probably win. I think he's the one horse that you think is definitely improving, because he obviously was with Gerard Lyons and Rafe Beckett and now back at Rafe Beckett's, and I thought its return to action at Doncaster was very impressive when they went too quick and he picked up the pieces, but he will handle the ground. He's in a visor for the first time, and I think he's improving where the rest of them have a bit to prove, so I chance Chemical Charge.
It was just as well your pronunciation of Rafe Beckett was spot on there. He gets the humble if you call him Ralph, but I just call him the greatest. Anyway, DJ's getting the hang of it. He's learned that if you stay on the right side of King Rafe, you can do no wrong. Kills, who do you fancy?
I don't see a single line of form that makes Across the Stars favourite. That's what sort of baffled me since the prices went up. He's about the 4th highest rated horse in the race. He's not certain to like the ground if it's really deep. And, we haven't mentioned the fact that we've got last year's Eclipse winner in here, and we've got last year's Prince of Wales winner in here. Now, Hawkbill, since winning the Eclipse, hasn't done much since. My Dream Boat's sort of run really solid races. He was staying on at Sandown when he was third last time in the Gordon Richards, and I think if he stays, he loves the ground. If he stays, then I think he's got a really good chance. Now, he's not bred to stay, but every time he runs at 10 furlongs, he's staying on at the end. He won the Prince of Wales, just got up on the last strides, didn't he? So I think there's a fair chance he'll get home, and he will love the ground. And the one at the bottom, I wouldn't rule out a big run from that if there's nothing wrong with Hugo Palmer's horses, because you remember we were there at Doncaster on Race Post Trophy Day when he bolted up under Josephine Gordon, and we gave it a big roar.
I can only just remember that I was there. Rivet won the big race. I do remember now. I do remember.
He absolutely bolted up there. He definitely wants some cut in the ground, and it could be an improving horse.
Okay, so we've tipped 5 of the 6 in that race. Good luck. 220, the Shahin Stakes. 8 runners at the moment, bound not to be 8 because that's the way these things go. Frank, how did Paddy Power bet on this one?
Cora Pick is 2-1, Private Matter 11-4, Perfect Angel 5-1, Visionary 7-1, Barrington and Simi are 10-1, and we're 12-1 bar.
David Jennings, far away.
I'm going to chance Simi here, Bruce, for first run for Carl Burke. I think the ground is obviously key, because I won a Lister race at Sean T quite convincingly, I thought, but I think it was the middle of November last year. Looked to be kind of really in love with the heavy ground that day, and that was Bottomless. It's obviously changed stables and is with Carl Burke now, having been with Sylvester Kirk, but it had some decent enough form lines. That second Accidental Angel in that valuable Tats race at Newmarket in October, that was a really good run. And I just think with the ground the way it is, if it's fit and ready to go on its first start for Carl Burke, now it's not I'm not absolutely mad on it, but around 10-1 I thought that could run well.
Kills.
Yeah, I think another wrong favourite, Coropic, beaten out of sight the only time he's run on soft ground. Hugo Palmer angle again. I thought Private Matter should be Fav, because he absolutely does love the mud. But I'd take a chance on Visionary, who was second in the All-Weather Championship. He's got some decent form, improving through the winter, and it's by Dream Ahead, who couldn't have the ground soft enough, and I think he might just like it.
What about you, Frank?
I'm taking a bit of a punt on Fitness, but if Perfect Angel is ready to go, I think she will be tough enough to beat. She's getting weight off the whole field. Like if you go back to last year, she was third at York behind Sir Dance a lot. She was second to Harry Angel at Newbury in the Mill Reef. Like if she can replicate that form, getting weight, she won't be beaten. But you're taking a risk on Fitness. If she's ready to go, I think she'll be very difficult to beat.
Stable's flying in it. So.
Yeah, they're bombing, so
okay.
I'll be chancing her.
Righty-ho. Okay, every Monday we give listeners and viewers the chance to win a £25 or €25 free bet, courtesy of Paddy Power. All you have to do is answer the question and tweet your answer using the hashtag Postcast. That is what Rob Cox did, among others, last week. The question was, who won the Lingfield Derby trial last Saturday? The answer was Best Solution. And, like I say, the winner of the free bet is Rob Cox from Lancashire. Well done, Rob. A free £25 bet has been deposited into your account. Join Maddie on Monday for another chance to win. And before we take a very quick break, talking of the Derby, I just want a quick view, and remember that keyword quick, David. Quick view from each of you on the Derby after the trials, because it's very muddled, isn't it? But Kills, just tell us right now, who would you back, and very briefly why?
In all honesty, I haven't got a clue.
You haven't got a clue?
I mean, I can't say. I mean,
if you had to,
if I had to, it'd probably be Cliffs of Moher.
Okay. All right. Frank, who would you back if you had to?
Without after timing, I was looking at this market a couple of weeks ago saying, look, something has to grab it, and I took a punt on Cliffs of Moher.
At what price?
I backed to 12s and 8s.
You bastard, you can do no wrong, can you?
Well, he has to win, yes. But it was just taking a bit of a punt. Just I didn't think, and I don't think after the comments yesterday, Churchill will run, so you're trying to pick Aiden's number one. But in saying that, like he wasn't overly impressive at Chester. He should step up, I'd imagine, a fair bit further. I don't think he was fully wound up, but nothing is surprising in this derby. Okay. Like something at 20-1 wins, I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, David's going to give us his concise view, and then you've got a show, which basically means you don't have to hurry. You can probably walk down the corridor and ask the compiler to type it out. Come on, David, who wins the derby?
I'd take a chance on Capri at 25-1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would.
That just about half the price a year ago, so I'd be delighted if you're right.
Yeah, like that Derrinstown Derby trial was impossible to figure out because they all finished in a bunch. But he's been running on quick ground, and I think he's crying out for soft ground. So I just, in the hope that there would be, because if there is soft ground on Derby Day, you know he's the one that's going to handle it. He's a thorough stayer. He has a touch of class. 25-1. If it's anyway soft, he'll go off about 10. So I take a chance on Capri 25s.
Righty-ho, Frank, have you got a show for us?
Yeah, Cliffs of Moher are 4-1 Fav. Cracksman is 9-2 after the form being franked yesterday. Churchill and Eminent are 10-1. Permium is 12-1 along with Mirage Dancer. Best Solutions also 10-1. Yucatan's 12-1. Venice Beach 16-1. And you can have Capri at 25-1.
Interesting stuff. Okay, let's look at Newmarket next.
Introducing Paddy Power's Hot Trot Jackpot, their new free-to-enter horse racing competition. Every Saturday, pick 5 horses in a free Lucky 31 bet for your chance to win the guaranteed £10,000 jackpot. T&Cs apply. 18+. Be gambleaware.org.
Okay, we've got 3 decent heats at Newmarket live on the box. The best of them at 3:15. It's the Betway Sprint Trophy. A handicap over 6 furlongs, 10 go to post. Latest Paddy Power betting, Frank.
Oh, I'm definitely going to get the pronunciation this wrong. Ectiar is our 3-1 favourite. Esprit de Corps is 5-1. Holmeswood 6-1 along with Nautical Haven. Quench Dolly 7-1, Ectiran 8-1, and we're 10-1 bar.
I thought you did very well there. So well that you get first dibs on the tip. Who are you going to go for, Frank?
There's a couple of interesting ones. The soft ground in Newmarket probably won't suit Quench Dolly, but I would recommend putting that in the notebook for Goodwood. She'll win a decent 6 furlong handicap at Goodwood, I think, this year. But I'm going to take a chance on Holmeswood. He ran really well the last time behind Ectiar and Richard Fames to Doncaster. It looked like it had stepped forward a fair bit for the run, and the blinkers go on as well. It's about 6-1. That's an each-way bet for me. I think it'll be in the first 3. Hopefully it'll win.
What about you, DJ?
Do you know what I was just thinking there, Bruce? I reckon if you added up all our time that we give for answers, so if you add up how much I talk, how much Frank talks, and how much Keels talks, I bet you there's not that much between us.
I'll tell you what.
I think you're overanalyzing.
Yeah.
I think you're overanalyzing my stamina.
I'll tell you what happened once, right? There was a podcast and I wasn't presenting, and I listened to it on the way home. And just as a test, I randomly sort of scrolled through and stopped and started it, right? And you were talking in 6 consecutive bits of it. So
coincidence.
I really wouldn't start scrutinising possession
coincidence.
stats.
And you know what? In that race, I'm going to help myself here because I fancy absolutely nothing.
Okay.
David, how would you price it if you were pricing up the time the 3 of us?
Well, I'd be about 2-7, but like it's not as clear cut as Bruce reckons.
Well, I'll tell you what happened yesterday very quickly. We came in to record the football postcast, okay? Yeah. And we were stood outside the studio for absolute ages. And I said, what's happening? They said, oh, they're recording a GAA postcast. And I said, oh, well, who's presenting that? And they said, David Jennings. And I thought, oh, for God's sake, well, David Jennings presenting a postcast. That'll go on longer than Ben-Hur or the final furlong. Anyway, 58 minutes later, they finally stopped. So, DJ, we all know can talk. But by the way, that was very good. And if you do like your hurling or your Gaelic football, do check out DJ. Who are your guests? I can't remember. You've got some big names.
John Milan and Conor Coonahan.
Yeah, there you go. Right, Kills, where are we? You're about to give us the winner of the 3:15 at Newmarket.
Yeah, I'm very much with Frank here. I think Holmeswood will win. I think he's... I was just very taken by the way he ran at Doncaster last time. He tugged early, didn't settle in the early stages at all, and then he just got caught flat-footed when they quickened up. But then he really started to pick up. I cannot understand why he's twice the price of Ectiar, who was only half a length in front of him, because he was really making up the ground. The one worry was the ground, but I think there's, he's by Mason. He's out of a mare who was second, a close second in the Flying Childers on soft ground. There's every chance that he'll absolutely relish it, and I think it'd be very, very hard to beat. Okay, I was just putting Quench Dolly into my Racing Post horse tracker, because if I don't, then I'll forget, and the next I'll remember is when I'm at Goodwood. Trackers.
Eh?
Can't have trackers.
Trackers are brilliant, mate.
They make you lazy.
No, not at all. Not at all. They're brilliant. I've got such a defective memory that if I don't put it in there, she'll win at Goodwood, like Frank said, and I won't remember. So that would be annoying. 2:05 at Newmarket, the Betway Fairway Stakes. And the Jelly has the jolly, I believe, Frank. If that makes any sense to you at all. Call to mind is 9-4. Desert Skyline and Leishla are 7-2. Valcartier 4-1. Great Britain 12-1. I'm never going to get this right. Zamuro D is 12-1, and we're 14-1 bar. To be fair, this is the most unpronounceable horse race ever. Keels, you start. Who's going to win this?
I think Valcartier is by far the most interesting horse in the race. Bolted up on a maiden. That was second start. That was good. That was good to firm ground. The Dam won on soft ground. Won a pre-St. Allery. That was on good ground, but she won on soft. She's by Unferwain, who couldn't have it any deeper. And this horse, after it won that, when it won that maiden, it had no entries at all. Got nothing at Royal Ascot, and then on Wednesday the entries for the Eclipse came out, and he's in it. Unless Godolphin have already planned some pacemaking duties for a 3-year-old who's only run twice. I mean, that's some statement of intent to put him in the Eclipse. So he's running in a listed race here, and I think, I don't think the maiden form of Call to Mind is all that special. So you're going Valcartier, yeah? Valcartier, yeah. Who are you going for, DJ?
Yeah, like Paul, I was blown away by Valcartier that day. Made all, could have won by 3 3/4 lengths, could have won by bloody 8 3/4 lengths. But the thing that really worries me, and I thought it at the time, I said to myself, that was so impressive. It must have been an absolutely desperate race. And lo and behold, the second Endless Gold, Born to Boom, Zofani Bay, Cribs Causeway, Legato, they've all been hammered next time. And I just worry, while I agree with Paul, I think he's by far the most interesting horse in the race, I think it was just a crap maiden. That's what made him so impressive. He's been given a mark of 90, which I think is about right, because you have to try and take a guess at how good he is. I don't really fancy anything. He is the most interesting horse in the race, but what stops me back in him is that maiden form.
Frank?
Yeah, he is very interesting. But I was watching videos this morning, and that Desert Skyline, again, you're taking a bit of a risk first time out. But he won handicap at Newmarket over a furlong shorter last year off 83, and he absolutely bolted up. Now again, it possibly wasn't the strongest handicap in the world, but he looked like 10 furlongs would really be up his street. His rating will give him a good chance at the least. And I'd take a punt on him being fully fit for this. I think he would be definitely in the first 3, hopefully win.
Righto, the other...
Confidence not high though.
OK, jolly good. 240 at Newmarket is the Betway King Charles II Stakes over 7 furlongs. Just the 7 runners. And your odds compiler's been very busy. You're betting on absolutely everything. So how do Paddy Power bet on this one, Frank?
Yeah, Largemont Lad is 2-1, Desert Frost 7-2, Beat the Bank 4-1, 7 Heavens 5-1, Tamal 5-1, and we're 10-1 bar.
Right, you've got 140 characters each, like verbal Twitter. Who's going to win and why?
Oh, that's going to be hard for me because this
you've already used yours up.
This is a good thing.
Who? Oh, no, go on then. Go on. We'll relax it, David.
I think this is priced all wrong. I think Tamul wins this. I really do. Tamul ran first time out in Newmarket on soft ground. And if you just get to watch the race, it travelled all over its rivals, won quite easily. But last time at Newcastle, right, if you just go into the form, you'll see he finished 4th of 8, beaten 5 lengths by Forest Ranger. That doesn't even begin to tell you the story. He travelled like a dream. Didn't stay. I just said to myself after the race, I can't wait until it's dropped a furlong to 7 furlongs on soft ground. Lo and behold, here he is back at the track he won his maiden over 7 furlongs on soft ground. He's 5-1. This will go off about 5-2 to Mool.
Well said, David. I absolutely love that. Kills, you were nodding in agreement there.
Yeah, nodding in agreement, apart from the pronunciation, because you can't spell something spelled Taamol, Tamul. It's Tamul, isn't it? Surely. Come on, Dave.
I don't know.
What is it?
It's got to be Tamul, isn't it? It can't be Tamul. There's only one O in it. There's only one O in it.
I know, yeah. Sorry, I got that wrong.
That's very pedantic.
Sorry, I'm in a pedantic mood at the moment. Anyway, yeah, I totally agree with everything he said. I mean, you can't say the form of that race at Newcastle worked out that well because the first and second were thumped in the Dante yesterday. But even so, I mean, Tamul just looks like a 7 furlong soft ground performer. Largemont Lad is a terrible favourite. It just doesn't look like he's improved from last year, and I don't think he liked the ground all that much either.
This is good. This could be the race of the postcast. Frank, what do you think?
I can completely see with Tamul. I priced this race up this morning, and the drop back to 7
is
exactly what he wants. No, that's the anti-post price. It'll be corrected later, or adjusted.
Don't give us that. He ballsed it up.
I would still... Richard Hannon has a decent enough record in this, and Largemont Lad dropped back to 7 on soft ground. He won his maiden on soft to sand, and he was quite impressive that day. I'd still say it was good to soft. There's soft in it. I'm
so pedantic.
I'd still take a chance. It's good enough to win.
Really? OK, excellent. That's good. I'm definitely going to zone in on 240 and see if the boys are right there. OK, without giving away your nap, lads, is there anything else that the listeners should know about at Newmarket, Navan, Thirsk, Bangor, Uttoxeter or Doncaster? Blimey, there's some racing on Saturday.
I have a couple, Bruce, yeah.
OK, go on then.
I'll be really quick.
Right.
Quite ironically, I think it could be the day for Paddy Power in the 5:35 at Newmarket. If you go back to that run at Newcastle, it was beaten by Art Collection, who has since run well off much higher marks in a 5 furlong sprint at Newcastle. But Accessible was 3rd, and he has since won. And Paddy Power travelled like a dream that day. Now he's a horrible horse in that he tends to find one too good, but he's well handicapped off 75, second run of the season, and it's probably a worse race than the race he was second in Newcastle, as I've stated already. And one horse that certainly is very, very interesting at Newbury is Natavia in the listed race. Sorry, I'll get a time now. I think it's 4:05.
It's 4:40, isn't it?
4:40. I think Natavia could be a superstar. I know this is a big call to make, but it was second to Dancing Breeze, who runs today. I just thought that day it was second. 5th or 4th was Glittering Jewel, who was just beaten at Ascot last time. The 6th, Moulin Point, has won since. Tranquil Star, who was 7th, has won since. And Natavia was caught on completely the wrong side. Won its group convincingly that day in that Fillies Maiden at Newmarket. And it's quite interesting that Roger Charlton has thrown her into a listed race on her second start. I think she could be a star. Natavia in the 4:40 at Newbury.
Thanks for being so quick, David. Paul Kelly and I just enjoyed a couple of frames of snooker. Kills. Anything?
Right. 425 at Newbury. Top one, Roban. I think that's quite interesting in a handicap for the first time. Ran terrible last time, but in a good conditions race, won by Mix and Mingle. Definitely wants soft ground. And if you look down the form of the others, there aren't too many that do.
Okay, Frank, anything else?
Navan 335. Miss Power won the last day at Nace, and apparently she needed the run, and she still managed to win her handicap debut. She only got £5 for that, and if that was the case that she needed the run, she won't be beat. Bangor 305, too many diamonds. This will be a sharp price, but moved to Dan Skelton. It's won twice, and it's out under a double penalty. Very difficult to beat. Up in Thurskin, the 410. Lucky Beggar won at Warwick during the week, and out under a penalty. There's an interesting one here for David Brown called Swirl Edge. It's got a decent enough high draw, which is very important in the sprint trips at Thirsk. It won here last year very well, off only £2 higher, and I think that'll be an each way price. It's worth a go. And I'm going to go against David, in the 440. It's not too often Luca Kamani has debut winners, and Al Jazeera won at Doncaster last year in a maiden. Now it's a Frankel, so they were getting carried away with these and they're probably over bet, but she went off 10-11. She's in the Ribblesdale and the Oaks, and I think she might be the one to put it up to Natavia in the 440.
Righty-ho, great stuff, chaps. Let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Paul Keeley.
Yeah, I'm going Holmeswood in the 315 at Newmarket.
David Jennings.
Hema in the 3 o'clock at Navan.
And Frank Hickey.
220 in Newbury, Perfect Angel.
Excellent. Thank you very much, gents. Let's do Sunday.
Introducing Paddy Power's Hot Trot Jackpot, their new free-to-enter horse racing competition. Every Saturday, pick 5 horses in a free Lucky 31 bet for your chance to win the guaranteed £10,000 jackpot. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, David Jennings and Paddy Power's Frank Hickey looking ahead to Sunday's racing, and the star of the show, the pin-up boy, is Caravaggio. Horse who ran so promisingly last season, real speedball, making his reappearance at Nace at 4:15 on Sunday over 6 furlongs. It's the Group 3 EMS Copiers Lockinge Stakes. And while we don't have any prices yet, Frank, can you give us some clue as to how short you think Caravaggio will be?
I'd be very surprised if he's not odds on at least, off the top of my head.
He'd be long odds on.
Yeah, he'd be 1 to 2 or something, I'd be thinking.
1 to 2, do tally with your thinking, David? Bit shorter?
Yeah, I'd say it'd be very, very short, yeah.
Okay, so is it a race to savour rather than bet on then?
Absolutely, yeah. He could be very, very good. He's obviously shown plenty of speed at home for them to swerve the French Guineas. He's rated 116. He's rated £9 higher than Cookery. Is that how you pronounce it? Cookery of Jessica Harrington. There's just one interesting one here. Gerlines had been talking up Psychedelic Funk at the start of the season, saying how he'd improved over the winter and that he could develop into a really, really good 3-year-old, a top-class sprinter. And he missed a break and ran like a hairy goat at Navan in a listed race that it was well backed for. Went off 9-4 favourite. The race that Cookery won. Now, it was detached the whole way, so it might have lost interest, but he's a far better horse than that, and apparently he's working the house down. So it might be worth giving Psychedelic Funk another chance without Caravaggio, and he might be like 7-2 without, so it could be worth taking a chance on Psychedelic Funk without.
Keels, how good do you think Caravaggio will be this year? Do you think he'll sweep all before him?
I don't know. It's very hard to say, isn't it? You always want to see him. I mean, he was far and away the best 2-year-old sprinter last year, without a shadow of a doubt. And if he keeps that form up, something's going to have to improve quite dramatically to do it. But we know when you get these precocious 2-year-olds, it's whether they train on.
Quick question for you is, Ryan Moore is riding Caravaggio. He's had 17 rides in Ireland this year. How many winners would you say he's had out of the 17?
I always like to sort of go with the really boring normal answer, so it sets up the person asking the question so they can shock you. So I'll say 7.
7 out of 17. Okay, Paul?
Yeah, I'd just say 10.
10. Frank?
I'll say 12.
2.
Really? Jeez.
He's had 2 winners out of 17 rides.
That's
and
amazing.
His level stakes profit and loss is -14. He's had a bit of a nightmare on his visits to Ireland. I just hope this isn't another one.
Have you ever heard of the news desk? We've got this thing called the news desk at the Racing Post, David. And our journalists are encouraged to ring the news editor up and tell them about these things so we can put them in the paper.
But sure, everybody over there loves Ryan Moore. You can't say anything bad about him.
Of course you can. Why not? He's grumpy. There you go.
Yeah,
I've said
he's
one.
he's obviously a brilliant jockey,
Of course
but
he is.
Nace especially has not suited him. He had a nightmare on Peace Envoy, and I just hope he doesn't have a nightmare on Caravaggio, because I think he's a very good horse.
I'm sure it'll even itself out. Frank, have you got a view on this race? Maybe a forecast pick?
Yeah, I really like Caravaggio. There was a little bit of a rumour going around about 3 or 4 weeks ago that he might be aimed at the King's Stand, and I got involved, which I'd say I've done my dough, but I think he'll be very difficult to beat tomorrow, obviously, and in the Commonwealth Cup as well. I think that's where Aidan said he's going. He'll be tremendously difficult to beat if he's trained on. Yeah, I'd probably go with Dave and say, look, give Psychedelic Funk another go. Nothing went right the last day at Navan, and he's obviously way better than that. And even if you go back to last year in the Coventry, he was third behind Caravaggio. A repeat of that's good enough.
Okay, well, we've got plenty of other stuff at Nace, and we've also got a meeting at Limerick on Sunday. So, David Jennings, why don't you take us through your best bets?
I'll try and be as quick as I can here.
Your break, Bruce.
Yeah.
A few games of cricket. In the 3:15, the Shahin Stakes, I was very impressed with T for Tango, first time out at Nace. I know James Nash thinks the world of him. I'm just surprised he hasn't been sold since Pat Smullen takes the ride. And I favour him over True Blue Moon and Dali. And later on in the card, in the 3:45, the Philly Sprint Stakes, another listed race. Jessica Harrington has never hidden her admiration for Alpha Centauri, who was hugely impressive when beating Actress at Nace back on the first day of May. She's a giant of a filly. I'd say she's very, very good. So Alpha Centauri and what was the other one I gave you?
I don't know, zoned out.
T for Tango.
You don't think we listened to you, do you?
You were bowling.
Have you done?
Yeah, I'm finished long ago.
Okay, jolly good. Frank, what about your Irish roundup?
Yeah, the 240 White Cliffs of Dover only probably needs to repeat his free handicap run to win that listed race. 100% agree with Dave in the 345 Alpha Centauri. Jessica Carton has been really big in this up, and she's flying for him. That'll prove difficult enough to beat. In the 315, I thought Simmy's Chop Shop or Cop Shop might be worth a go here for Richard Fahey. The Nottingham maiden win is working out quite well. The second, Havana Grey, bolted up in air. The third, Neola, won at Nottingham by 5 lengths, I think, and Run Slane, the first of York. And Choice Encounter was knotted on the line at Windsor during the week. Staff form's working out, and I'd be willing to give her a go. Yeah, and that's my Nace roundup.
Okay, and Kills, what do you think with the possession stats for this? Who's had the most airtime on this?
Oh, definitely
broadcast
DJ,
so far?
mate. Definitely DJ.
Really?
Frank's
Yeah.
done well. Frank's done well.
Yeah, well, I'm
Frank's done a
tailed
good
off.
bit.
I'm
You're
tailed
tailed
off
off. So
as
here's your
usual. I
big
mean, I go
chance. So
quick.
we've got Ripon, Market Raisin, and Stratford.
Right, I just want to agree with all of them about Alpha Centauri. I think she could be very, very good. She'll win at Royal Ascot if she goes there. I'd be quite interested to see if they went up to 7 furlongs for the Chesham, because you'd definitely stay. But anyway, Ripon, the main race at Ripon is the 340, and I think the top one, Snow Arno, might just have a class edge. He ran 5th last time to Deauville at Chester. Obviously, he was beating a Fairway, but obviously that was a Group 3 race. They're going to get a bit of rain. They're still hanging on to good ground officially at the moment at Ripon, but if they get a bit of rain and it softens up, it would be perfect for
I've never
them.
been there. Have you been to Ripon?
I've never been, but they call it Yorkshire's Garden Racecourse.
That's what they say,
It is the Yorkshire's Garden Racecourse handicap, in fact. So yeah, I think he might just have a bit of a class edge there. We go back to Market Raisin. I've got to find the bloody race now. There's an interesting one in a handicap hurdle called Viserion of Donald McCain's in the 330. He's, apart from one blip when he suffered an overreach, he's looked really progressive over hurdles. He's stepping up the 2.5 mile for the first time in a handicap for the first time too, and having been a middle distance performer on a flat, I think that'll suit him. And there's one more at Stratford in a handicap chase right down at the bottom. Let's have a look. Yes, this is the race. 320. Michael Appleby is absolutely flying at the moment, and he's got this Bayer who's very, very lightly raced recently and is now off a mark some £17 lower than over hurdles. And although it finished only 5th of 6 last time, he didn't actually get beaten that far, and I think he'd go well.
Okie dokie, right. Weekend plans. DJ, what are you doing?
I'm in Navan tomorrow in my home track. I'm working, but I'm in the bad books because we were supposed to be going to Killarney for the weekend, but my football championship starts tomorrow night, so we have a match, so I've had to cancel Killarney and the news went down like a lead balloon.
Oh dear. Well, you must have known in advance that was going to happen. They didn't arrange the game just 3 days ago, did they?
It's really tricky because it depends on the inter-county hurling championship, and Meath were beaten last week by Westmeath, which meant they were out of that. So it was a provisional fixture kind of
How
thing.
does that affect you? Proper stuff. You play for a pub team, don't you? Actually, to be fair,
Bruce, what the hell did I do in you?
No, I love you, Dave. No, you do play to quite a high standard, don't you? I believe. Is that right?
Oh, well, sure, that's for others to decide, isn't it?
Well, no, it's up to you. No, seriously. I mean, you play with like a proper grandstand and floodlights and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Like like Frank will tell you, like intercounty or like club football in Ireland, GA is it's quite competitive, isn't it, Frank?
Yeah.
Oh, very much. Like, as in, I came from a team in West Cork where we were Junior B Gaelic football, which is a low enough level, but our captain was also the captain of Cork, who played senior for inter-county. So, like, you know, you can get a right mix of ability within the teams, like, and they can be quite good.
Kills, who's your favourite GAA star? Do you not know any?
Couldn't name one, mate.
Really?
No.
You never heard
You
of
could've just said me.
DJ Carey?
Nope.
DJ Carey's, and who's the other? Henry Shefflin, I've heard of him as well. Producer Jack's sticking his thumb up there, he loves that lot. Yeah, I went to see them once at Croke Park, it was excellent. And that trip to Killarney, DJ, was that the one where you were going to go and propose to Aoife?
Not really, no.
That's a yes. Okay, well, you'll have to keep her waiting for a little bit longer. Frank, what are you doing at the weekend? Spending some more of your winnings?
Maybe, yeah. I have to work in the morning for a few hours, but I'm heading off down to Cork then in the afternoon. A friend is back from Australia, so I'm going to meet him for a few pints, and then Sunday meet up with family and come back to Dublin Sunday evening.
And what price are you to win betting over the weekend?
1 to 2.
1 to 2. God, I wish I could go into weekend being 1 to 2. Be lovely, wouldn't it? Kills, are you going to win this weekend, do you think?
Yeah,
you
I think
pretty
so.
definite.
I think so. Yeah, I really do fancy that Holmeswood, and I'll beat the price on that. So.
Are you working?
Yeah, working Saturday, and probably have a few drinks Sunday. We won't go too mad because we've got a golf game Monday.
Oh yeah, we're playing golf on Monday. That'll be nice, won't it? We've got to go to the driving range as well, haven't we?
Have we?
Well,
Is that the fancy golf day with
it's Ed Chamberlain's golf day. Yeah, we're playing at Woburn.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And neither of us has had a seasonal reappearance.
No,
How would Irish
have you?
Racing Post
Yeah, played
journalists
once.
get an invite to that?
Don't know. We'd have to like you more than we do, probably. We'd have Tony O'Hara. over, wouldn't we?
I'd have to shut up.
No, it'd be absolutely fine. We were supposed to be playing with Niall Quinn, which we normally do, which is always a pleasure.
Legend.
But unfortunately, he can't make it this year. So no, I've not told you that, have I? No, it's not good news. So therefore, on Monday, normally Tom Siegel's there, but Tom's playing golf with us. So join us on Monday when Maddie Player will be at the controls, and she'll be joined by Nick Watts and. Now, there's a top man, Justin O'Hanlon, DJ. How much is Justin loved in the Irish press boxes?
Justin's a legend, yeah, absolutely. And he's far quicker with his replies than me, so he'll be quite enjoyable.
Has he got over his hangover from Nottingham Forest staying up yet?
He has, yeah. He's a proper
He flew over, didn't he, for it?
He did, yeah. He went over and he constantly talks about it. Like, he'd be rabbiting on to me about Nottingham Forest in the press room. Sure, I wouldn't be listening at all, and he just keeps going and... Yeah, he's mad
David,
into it.
let's leave it there with David Jennings accusing someone of rabbiting on. Thank you very much indeed for listening. Join us next Friday for another Racing Post Weekend Postcast.
Paddy Power stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC. Unlike some other high street bookies, Paddy Power, you beauty!